Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I am making a bow tie shirt cake. So the first thing I would do is to knead and roll out my white fondant. Now the body of the cake is going to be white. I've already trimmed my cake and crumb coated and kept it aside. So now I am rolling and smoothing out my white fondant, which would be the body of the cake. So technically I was supposed to roll the top first before the bottom, but before the sides, but I rolled the sides first. So I then rolled the top. I measured it to be sure it wasn't excess. I placed it on top of my cake, applied a little edible glue, and then took the first side that I already rolled out and wrapped it around my cake. Wrapping around my cake, I used my fondant smoother to press down the edges, and then I trimmed it off. So the edible glue would help hold them together, and then if it's not so smooth, I straighten it out and cut out any other excess I still have. So I then trimmed off the excess fondant on top, placed my original board back and flipped it over. Now the suspenders of this shirt is going to be black and wine red, and also the tie. So I rolled out my wine red and used an impression to create an impression, cut out the size I needed, and then I created my bow tie. So I'm creating a bow tie here. Then I used a little edible glue to hold the center together so it doesn't open up. After that, I used some dowel rods. I placed it into the curved part of the bow tie so that it would dry in that shape. Yeah, because if you don't put it, it dries and it might be flat. So I needed that shape. Then I cut out a little piece and used it to cover the middle of the tie. Next, I rolled out my black fondant, smoothed it out, and used my roller to cut out 2 stripes for the suspenders. I also rolled the wine red and put the impression on it, and then I cut out tiny pieces which I'm going to place in the middle of the black. Here I'm using my edible glue, and then I'm taking the red and placing on top of the black. It's giving it an effect of black, red, black. Yes. Then on my cake, I apply some edible glue, and then I place the suspenders. So you can see it's a little bit longer than the cake. So all I needed to do was place and cut off. You can measure the exact size of your cake, but if you are not so sure, you can make it longer, and then once you place it, you cut it off. Now, using my hand to place it wasn't so smooth, so I had to use my smoother to straighten it out. So here, I used a star cutter to cut out some stars. Now the celebrant is turning 7, so instead of putting the number 7, I decided to use 7 stars. So I cut 7 stars, and then I inserted my irons inside so that it would I now kept them aside to dry. Next, I rolled out the wine red fondant and used my alphabet cutters to cut out the name of the celebrant. His name is LiQWYD. So I cut out everything. Then I rolled out some white fondant and I made it very thin. Then using edible glue, I applied the red alphabets onto the white. I want to create like an outline. So I then used my sharp knife to trace the alphabets, giving it a very little space, like a quarter of an inch space between the alphabets and the white fondants. So you see what we have here. It looks like red alphabets on a white with a white background. Next, I put this is an optional part of this whole process, where the buttons would be on your shirt. Please don't mind the red stains. I put on my bow tie when it wasn't ready and it stained white. Next, I cut out some white buttons. These white buttons I'm going to put it at the edge of the suspenders. You know your suspenders have buttons or that golden pin, but I decided to use buttons. Then I added my bow tie, used my mold to create some patterns which I would use to cover the base of my cake. Here I'm putting it around the bottom of the cake so it would look more finished. It would have a more finished look since I wasn't going to cover the cake board with fondant. So after that, I applied edible glue and placed the name of the celebrant on my cake. Then I put in the 7 stars for our 7 years. I put in 7 stars, and then I put in my happy birthday topper. I cleaned it off and used my steamer to clean it completely. And here we have our finished cake, very beautiful, and this is our celebrant, very happy.